Welcome to the top of the morning show. It's your girl TT from the D. I want to thank you for tapping in for this Tap In Tuesday morning. We had an issue yesterday. We had a show scheduled for Monday, and I was so disappointed that it didn't air yesterday. And I thought so please forgive me for that. I made some errors in the midst of recording the show, and it didn't take. And I'm thinking oh my God, but I'm getting my life together. So I hope that you will enjoy today's show. The hot topic is picking up the pieces. I'm going to share a couple tips for coping with a breakup. And it's kind of difficult for people to actually pick up and move on. I don't know if it's because it's what we choose to do or choose not to do, but it seems to be difficult a lot of the times. Especially when you are around people that know y'all as the couple, or you're constantly reminded by places you go that you frequently visited, songs, things of that nature, you know what I mean? However, coping with a breakup, it's not as easy as 1, 2, 3, or just get over it. No, it doesn't. Especially if it was meaningful, right? So I'm going to share these few tips with you this morning that you can utilize or take bits and pieces and apply it as you see fit. One of the biggest things I've heard people say when they're breaking up is that we can be friends, and that can work for a lot of people. But the other part of that is if you share space, right? If you share space, getting out of that space is going to be so important. If that means that you need to move out that apartment, that house that you share, and you're I'm trying to save my money, I'm trying to stack my money, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. You really got to reassess things and see where you need to be. Because sometimes time ain't on our hands, right? Sometimes you don't have the time to do exactly what it is you want to do and how you want to do it. And you have to move what they say, expeditiously, right? Sometimes you might have to get back to the basics. Move back home if you can, if it's possible. Jump on a friend's couch. And I know you're I'm not about to be doing all that. Yeah. And hopefully you don't fall into the rut of it's cheaper to keep her. Okay. But the sooner you make space for yourself, the sooner you will start to heal and start the healing process. Another one is resist the temptation to stalk. Yep. You moved on. You're out of that relationship. Why concern yourself with what she doing, what he doing with other people? You're not with them, so you don't need to concern yourself, right? Let go of looking through old photos. Just gonna keep on reminding you. Only, and I mean only, if you really want to get over her or really get over him, right? But stalking, on the internet, checking what they doing, they stats and all that. Friend, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Let it go. Don't make a lurking page. Don't do none of that. Just unfriend them. I think sometimes you could do unfriending. You know what I mean? Blocking them. Whatever that looks like. Because you don't want to see their post, because then you might get in your feelings, and I ain't gonna say really you gotta block them, but you don't need to be following them. Okay? If they go to your page, that's because they want to see what they want to see. And if you go to their page, that also means you see what you want to see. Okay? Another one is try a breakup to makeup session. If you know, now this goes backwards. If you know you really want to kind of be with them. Sometimes you got to make up to break up, or break up to make up, if that makes sense. Because you don't know if you want that old thing back like Ashanti and Nelly. It just worked out for them in a 360 type of way. And shout out to the Haynes. They welcomed their son, baby Haynes, not too long ago. Amazing. But really, some people get on dating apps. Some people ask, hey, you got any single friends? And I will say this. Be careful, though, because you got some folks out here just playing. They be playing them games. They're really not out of the relationship, but they act like they're out of the relationship just to get into another relationship. Then you got to deal with the crazy ex. Like, what? Right? Another piece is spend more time with your friends to occupy your time. You know how sometimes you be in those relationships and it's you and her, you and him. And then you're so caught up with them that you don't realize how much of your time is really wrapped up into him or her. And you miss out on things with your friends. Get back to hanging out with your girlfriends. Get back to hanging out with your guy friends. Right? Do some weekend getaways, day trips, staycations, Circle yourself with people who will encourage you, and not necessarily having to get back to dating, but encourage you to live your life. Because I know we go through seasons, right? Where you might feel like, oh my God, I don't want to do anything because I miss her, I miss him, I can't focus, whatever that looks like. Try to reestablish who you are by getting back out there if that's what you want to do. But I wouldn't ask you to do this one part unless you're ready, and that's to really sit back and figure out what you want. Because maybe in your past relationship, you lost yourself a little bit. A lot of times you hear people say that. I really lost who I was. Not all relationships, but some. And if that sounds like you, and you want to get your mind clear, then you want to start doing things different. Another one is rediscovering what you used to like. You might have gave it up, a hobby, going certain places when you got into that space of being in a relationship. Maybe it's an opportunity for you to reconnect and get into that thing that you enjoyed. Not all things left behind are wasted. Some things left behind are placed behind because there's no space for it. But if you have space again, why not pick up something that brought you joy? Another one is, and this is nothing wrong with this, some people need to have counseling. And there's nothing wrong with counseling. Some people like to frown at it. I don't see nothing wrong with it. Therapy is beneficial when we talk about mental health and mental wealth. It's one and the same, right? But it's so beneficial. It's so beneficial. And it can be very therapeutic for you. But if you shy away from it because you're listening to statistics or myths, you may be doing yourself a disservice. I'll just say that. Okay? Well, that's my little tidbit. It's real short and sweet to it. Real short and sweet to it this morning. Tonight is Tap In Tuesday. And I'm going to have my special guest who absolutely is amazing. And he's come through many a times. And he happens to be my husband. I'm going to have Swifty McVeigh from D12, who's also my husband. He's going to be stopping through, and we're going to talk about balancing life with work. Yeah, because a lot of us struggle with it. And it's a lot of give and take. It's important to give and take, but a lot of times people don't give, they take. And we want to talk to you guys about that. So that's all your girl got for you until the next time we leave footprints on the sun. It's your girl TT from the D, and I'll see you soon.